John chapter 5 is amazing passage. It is really a passage that sets up the tension that carries forward throughout the whole book of John. And the tension is set up at what Jesus says. I think it is fascinating to see that. In the context of the John chapter 5, what we have is, we've got this man who has been lying by the pool for a long period of the time, and he's trying to get in. And Jesus appears to him. Jesus initiates, keeps coming to him, and Jesus heals him. But then he comes back to him later and makes it clear that who Jesus was. And what we see is, sadly, man is unresponsive to Jesus. Man who has been healed is unresponsive to Jesus. He goes off and he gets told off by the authorities for carrying his mat. Jesus comes back to him and he goes and tells the authorities it was Jesus. There is a kind of weird thing is going on here. This man got up, healed, and now putting Jesus into trouble by telling people who healed him, the authority who comes to Jesus, and they are persecuting him. They are trying to get him because he's doing this stuff on the Sabbath. But Jesus just makes it so much worse. Imagine that all the authorities are gathering around you, pointing their fingers, saying, you know, you are breaking the Sabbath, which is actually very serious business in Jewish thinking. And Jesus answers them in verse 17. It is fascinating.
For this reason, the Jews persecuted Jesus and sought to kill him, because he had done these things on the Sabbath. But Jesus answered them, My Father has been working until now, and I have been working. Therefore, the Jews sought all the more to kill him, because he not only broke the Sabbath, but also said that God was his Father, making himself equal with God.
Did you hear that? He said, My Father is working until now, and I am working. Almost everything here Jesus says, that's like probably not a good idea. If you want to stay out of trouble, you wouldn't respond to the people, to authorities who are pointing their fingers on you, saying you are breaking the Sabbath. But Jesus is simply responding with fascinating way. My Father is working until now, and I am working. He calls God my Father, something they wouldn't do. He says, my Father is working until now. Implication, his Father is working on the Sabbath, and I am working. Confession. Yes, I am working on the Sabbath. And so authorities, instead of getting Jesus for Sabbath breaking, now had it wrapped up to the whole new level. He's calling God, the Almighty, his own Father, making himself equal with God. That is a charge Jesus is considering worth having against him. That is a charge that is worth being in trouble for. Because of course, it is true, God the Father is equal to God the Son. And this kind of Sabbath break here, Jesus did a whole lot of healing people on the Sabbath. He's tying that as his role, or to his role, as a being the revealer of the Father. Sometimes I do wonder how much we think about it, that Jesus, when we see Jesus, we are seeing the Father's heart in action, in human nature. The Son fully revealing the Father to us. And so in this passage, Jesus is not going to settle for breaking the Sabbath, but he wants them to go after him for the top charge, which is making himself equal to God. Praise God that Jesus is right. Jesus, as the eternal Son of God, is equal to God. He is equal to God the Father. Different person, but equal. Of course, he is who claimed to be. So everything that follows from this point on in John's Gospel, all the tension becomes is attention from their perspective that legitimate charge against him. But from the perspective of truth, it was reality. Jesus is the Son of God revealing the heart of Father to us. Jesus is the Son of God who is revealing Father to us. Father, he is revealing to us, is a gracious, gorgeous, loving. He's the kind of God, he's the kind of loving God who sees someone who is not going to respond to him, yet he still heals him. He knows that those people are going to put him in trouble, but he still pours down his heart. He still shows them his common grace. He is loving God, heals those who are unresponsive to him. That is the heart of God. That is heart of my gorgeous, glorious, and delightful God.